Dress for success. Let's talk about it. This morning, this idea came to me. I was, I got out of bed, I was getting dressed, and no, I got, I got out of bed, and I got dressed, messed around for a bit, and then I was gonna, at some point, I was gonna come with my wife to visit my mom. So I thought about wearing something else. My around the house clothes for this week has just been like a red shirt, gray sweats, and I thought, yeah, I'll just wear this. But I'm like, do I really want to wear this? And I remember listening to a guy, I don't know his name, but he'd mentioned something like, if you wear sweats, then give up on he thinks you give up on life. You give up on life. So I thought that was funny. Honestly, I thought that was hilarious. Not that I really agree with that, but I do understand where he's coming from. I get the mindset that he's saying that in. No, this guy's is a dude that's uh, dressing. He's a fashion guy, dressing suits and all this stuff all the time, and that's all right. That's just not my thing all the time. So, um, but I kind of understand the mind frame who was saying that in, and it has to do with energy, right? And energy is something that I've talked about on this channel, and I think it's very important. I think everything is energy. The food you eat is energy. Like all matter really is energy. Uh, your thoughts are energy. Your words are energy. So this is really important in our lives. It is our lives really. Um, but when you dress a certain way, it carries a certain energy, and when you wear sweats, like, which is more dressing down, and so the energy, when you say that, the energy is more a downward energy, right, as opposed to dressing up, which is an upward energy. It gives you it carries, you carry yourself in a certain way, and that energy is reflected in pretty much how you go about your day. Sometimes when you're dressing sweats and more, down like that, you kind of tend to want to lounge around, and it's just a certain energy that comes with it, and it actually, it affects your actions, right? Or it can, I should say. Take for instance, if you're going to a club, there's a certain way you're going to dress, right? There's a certain energy that's going to come with the idea of going to a club, and you're going to want to dress a certain way to reflect that, right? Or to carry that energy. Or, yeah, I say the energy that you're pulling on is going to cause you to dress a certain way in order to sync up with that, right? Because you're going out there to have a good time, to be a fun time, and so there's an energy that comes with that, both males and females, right? So it's the same thing when you're dressing with sweats and casual and so forth. So what is the point of all of this? Well, take a look at, it's really the world of the mental, right? Energy is important there. Like I said, thoughts are energy. And dressing for success, I'm not talking so much of the physical dressing. It's important there, but remember in my previous videos, I said the natural is a shadow of the spirit, the spiritual, right? So when you practice that naturally, there's a spiritual implication as well, right? And so that's what I want to focus on. And so there is a dress that must be worn in the mind as well, right? And that also reflects the type of energy that you're going to carry around throughout the day. So when you, like I said, when you're doing the physical, when you're dressing just down in sweats and so forth, you're not going about your day with an intent to take on the day, it's like I'm gonna chill, I'm gonna lounge, I'm gonna relax on the couch and watch some shows or whatever, right? That's kind of the attitude that tends to come with that sometimes when you're home and that's what you do, right? As opposed to when you put on something more, up and whatever, right? It's like there's a tend to be an intent behind it, and so it pulls you forward, right? It is an energy with it. There's a mindset that leads that, and it helps carry you, right? There's a certain attitude, a certain energy, and mentally it's the same. So there's a dressing we need to cover ourselves with, and these are things that we've talked about, right? Like we have to dress ourselves with hope. We have to dress ourselves with faith. We have to dress ourselves with courage, right? We have to clothe ourselves in these things, and these now allow us to take on the day, the challenges that come that may not be physical, but more up here. When we have that certain attitude, a certain energy, it allows us to take on those things with the best, our best. And so we're able to really attack the day, right? Just like how in the physical, if when we carry ourselves in a certain way, there's a certain attitude, we come for business, right? The challenges that come before us, we're going to take them on. We plan to beat them, and it's the same way in the mental, right? When we clothe ourselves with a certain mindset, a certain attitude, a certain outlook, it allows us to take on the challenges in the best way possible. Sometimes if we clothe ourselves in negativity, in the hopelessness, in the doubts, in the anxieties, sometimes we'll have problems, we'll have issues that come up, and we won't see a solution, even though there is one right there in front of us. And that's because negativity blinds the mind, right? It cuts you off from seeing things that you would normally see if your attitude was different, right? You'll see an open door where if you're negative, it'll be closed, right? Because the attitude is one to overcome. The attitude is one to succeed. The attitude is one to go beyond, go above. And so when we have that, we won't just be inclined to give up so easy, but we'll press forward, right? We'll do so in a meaningful way, in a positive way, and then we'll reach things and we'll access doors and access spaces that we'll never thought we could, and that we never would if we didn't have that certain mindset, right? And so there's a lot more opportunities come when we have a certain attitude. Our eyes are open and we're looking for ways to move forward. And so for the person that has a schizophrenia, I would say clothe yourself in these things, in positivity, in hope, hopefulness, in mindfulness, and faith, and courage in these things, because these are what's going to move you forward. And we see this schizophrenia community. You look at a lot of posts, you look at a lot of, whether it's Reddit, whether it's Twitter, whether it's TikTok or YouTube. There's so many negativity, and people have just learned to just bask in this negativity. It's this negative energy. It just pulls on people, and people just surrender to it, and that's what they clothe themselves in, their minds, right? And so you cannot succeed with that energy. It's an energy that leads you to nowhere. It's an energy that leads you to suffering, right? There's no good outcome for that. You just go in a circle. You're wandering in darkness. That's all that can come from that, right? And for the caregiver, this is important too, because the caregiver must also clothe themselves in the right energy, right? Because schizophrenia, when you're caring for somebody, that energy pulls you in. You know that it pulls you in because your life is caught up in that, in that current. And so what happens is it tries to sync your energy with its energy, right? By having the inconvenience and all this stuff that comes with that, and it pulls on, those doors in your mind, and it tries to turn that energy to pessimism and to, just the negative all the negative things, right? The hopelessness and the despair and all the worst things, and then it just kind of it affects the person you're looking after as well, right? There's nothing. It just strengthens them in their negativity, right? So you have to clothe yourself in something that is more productive, right? Look beyond the situation. You've got to pull from beyond it. It's not about accepting something just because it's there, just because it comes to you, just because it pulls in you. You don't have to accept it. You can take something better, take a different approach, take a different energy, and hold to that, clothe yourself with that, and that will push against the negative energy of what schizophrenia tries to bring, right? And tries to pull you in, and you push against it, and now you have the opportunity to affect the current that your loved one is trapped in, right? So it's either they're pull you in or you're gonna pull them in, right? So it's always a tug of war in these things, right? It's a tug of war mentally, and so we've got to really choose the best route. And the way to hinder ourselves is to clothe ourselves in the things that are not productive, the things that are gonna put us in some of the worst places, or continue to just be in the same cycle of just the hospitalizations and and all the things that comes with that, and it affects your life as a caregiver, because you've got work and you've got maybe other children to care for, and you love your loved one, and so forth, and so you're that affects you because you don't want to see them suffering, and yet you're desperate and try to help them. But you got to understand, there's only so much you can do. You can't cure them. Doesn't matter how much you want it, and how you groan, and you want it. It's not gonna do anything. All that is not gonna do anything. You can't affect anything in that with that way. So you've got to really know what your tools are, what you have available, and how best to use those to get the best results, and to get through this journey together in the best way possible. And so you have to put down the things that you don't need, put down the weights that are unnecessary, right? There's certain weights that are unnecessary, and that's the fears, and that's the anxieties, and the doubts, and all these negativities, and all these things. So you got to put those, and you got to pick up the things that are more going to help you. So that's the hope, and that's the faith, and that's the courage, and that's the love, and that's the patience. And these things are what's going to carry you through in a meaningful way and build you up in the process. And that's what's going to affect your loved one in a more positive way. That's the current that you want them to get pulled into and get caught in. And then you can both get through that together, right? So allow that energy to clothe you, and carry yourself forward with that. Have that good mindset, have that good energy, that positive outlook, and carry those things. And it's work. It's not easy. It's consistency, and but it's the energy that when we wake up, we're gonna take on the day. And it's either you take the day on and you beat it, or else it's going to take you on and it's going to beat you. So it's that kind of energy, right? It's an overcomer's mindset. It's a mindset that's going to succeed, right? And that's really the energy that we need to embody. And so I think everybody can really, whether it's caregiver or whether it's the person suffering, the patient there, that we can all use that type of attitude. And there's so much to be gained from that. These are the things that we know are good, and these are the things that we teach our kids, and these are the things that we talk to each other about when each other people are going through their tough times. And but when it comes to us, it's a different thing to hold to those things, right? It seems so difficult, it seems so impossible, but that's where it's more needed. It's always needed. It's easier to say it than it is to live it. But there is a time where we have to live what we preach, And otherwise, how can anyone believe anything we say if we are in a position where we are able to live the words that we use to encourage, and then we totally deny them in times of trials and so forth like that. So I just want to say, yeah, just hold to those and move forward in a positive way. So that's it for this video. I'm Paul, Morning Miss 99, above and beyond schizophrenia. Talk to you next time.